All right, we made it to our destination. This is part 5. Can you tell me about this petroglyphs, please?
Well, right here we've got a large, it's actually, first it started with probably tens of thousands of years ago, if not more. This big rock broke away from this one. The patina grew on it, and that's just by
Yeah, it
oxidation.
did.
That's why you see the brown surface.
Mm-hmm.
That grew on it, and then, say about 1,000 years ago, give or take, the Hohokam were up here, or the native people who lived in this area came up here for hunting purposes, and they would make petroglyphs. The way they make petroglyphs, they would merely take one rock that has a straight edge, and take another rock, maybe a little bigger than this, and they would pound into the surface of the patina and move the rock, and it would scratch away the patina.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried it on rocks that don't have petroglyphs because of course I don't want to deface this one. And it's actually kind of hard to do and kind of tedious. And of course right now I can't do it, but so they had to. We know that the petroglyph probably came up here and slept overnight and would stay a couple days when they came up here. The hunters would. Here we're seeing a lot of bighorn sheep, which were indigenous to the area. They're not here anymore. We see what we believe might be dogs too, maybe family symbols, a lot of lizards. I started coming up here about almost 20 years ago, and this was actually, I remember this actually having what looked like another sheep in here, so we believe it could have been, depiction of pregnant bighorn sheep. And it's highly possible that the Hohokam, if they saw a pregnant bighorn sheep, would not hunt it, would not kill it. So, which makes sense, and a lot of hunters do that nowadays too. So respectful.
Some people might say, well, this is just a rock and a carving, big deal. How would you respond to that?
Well, this is a piece of the history of this area that's well over 1,000 years old. It gives us a lot of information about how the people lived, and it could actually help us in the future while we struggle with sustainability, with all our greenhouse gases, with all the pollution that this big city, is making, and the whole country is making. How did the Hohokam live? How did they survive the summers and the heat of Phoenix without air conditioning? How did they do that? They did it. They had incredible water systems coming through. When we came along, we dammed up this river, the Salt River that went through the valley, so most of the year it's dry. When the Hohokam were here, it was more of a lush valley and had a lot more water going. They would save the water from the monsoons and from the rains in the winter, and they would save them and farm their fields, use them for watering their fields.
Can you tell me what Hohokam? Am I pronouncing it right?
Hohokam.
Hohokam. Can you tell me what that means? And
Hohokam is a term actually by other indigenous tribes that came later after the Hohokam were gone. It's not what they called themselves. We don't know what the Hohokam called themselves because they were gone before other people came along. But the people who came along were the Tohonatam, and formerly called, I believe, the Pima or the Papago, and it said that they saw them and they said that they were Hohokam. A lot of the tribes in Arizona claim lineage to the Hohokam.
Okay.
The Hopi, the Dene, almost all of them, and they're probably all right. Looking at it all, they probably, but we don't know exactly what happened to the Hohokam. But that's why this rock is important, and all the rocks that have petroglyphs on them, and all the archaeological sites. I mean, even when you find a pottery shard, you should leave it where you find it.
Exactly.
Maybe you can dig it down a little bit more.
So this is the beautiful. What would you call this? A canyon or a
This
valley?
would be a canyon and a wash.
Okay.
Yeah, a canyon in South Mountain Park.
This is pretty good. The cactus and
There's some more petroglyphs.
yes, right here. There's more.
Little like windows that the water makes as it rushes down the canyon.
And Annette. Thank you very much, Annette.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being our tour guide in this wonderful, beautiful place in Phoenix, Arizona.